Hey everybody, doing a little lathe project here. I've got a 3/4 inch OD shank. I think it's a Kennemetal, and it has a provision for through coolant. I didn't know that when I got the machine, when I got the part, but bonus, right? It was a decent price. Came with some carbide inserts. They take a CGMT, the 3/8 CGMTs, little small guys. Anyway, I just noticed recently when researching carbide inserts for the thing that it's a couple inches short. So what I'm going to do today is put the collet closer into my 16-inch south bend. I'll show you that, and put the holder into a 5C collet, the tool holder into a 5C collet, face it, put a bevel on it, then put a chunk of stainless on the saw, cut that down, then put that in a collet, bevel it, get it welded, put it back in the collet closer, and turn everything to the 3/4 OD to match the size of that tool holder. Here we go. So this collet closer came with my lathe, 1942 South Bend. Keep saying South Bend. Anyway, 1942. It's got the old style oiler on it. I've only used this once before. It's pretty slick, slick setup. It's got the threads on the end here for the collet, and just slide it back in the spindle. I've already wiped it down, and just slide it up here. This part here gets captured by the arm, the pivot arm. Just line up the holes. I don't think this is factory South Bend, but fits nice. So I got this guy setting up here, and the back of the spindle, it's got a keyway, and the closer's got a key on it. Male, female, you know. So get that guy lined up. It takes a good bit of force to get that in there. It's a pretty tight fit. So what I do, I take this knockout tool that was made by the previous owners of the lathe, I believe. This thing was either a factory piece, I'm not sure. It's got some nice engraving here. Lathe collet knockout, and the same here, but not as pretty. So since it's aluminum on steel, I'll just take this guy and whack it that way. I gotta get my mallet to get it seated. There, I'm sneaking up on it. And there it's home. So I'll grab some oil here. And dump some in here. As I said, I've only used this thing one time, and I did oil it, so it's going to take a lot of oil here. And it's a complete loss system, so it's already draining on the ground over there. Set my oil down, and then we'll move to this business end of the spindle, and we'll get set up with our collet. I've already got the factory South Bend 5C spindle adapter tapped in here, and it'll get tighter once I snug up the collet closer. So here's the piece I'm talking about, my tool. There's a through hole for coolant, and it comes out here. And this guy's about 4.5 inches long, and I want to add 2 inches to it. It's been cut at some point. So I can't stick it in here, or rather I can't stick it like this, so clean out my dirt and whatever. I can stick it in there this way. It just has to have a little bit of stick out. See, I got perfect amount of clearance there, even with the insert that I just removed. So stick the collet in there, line the notch, and it's already engaged on that collet closer tube. You can watch it move in when I turn the hand wheel back here. So once it gets a little tough to move, the hand wheel, then I start testing the collet closer until I get a nice solid capture on it. And we're solid there. So that it's not going to go anywhere. I tested the run out on this adapter, and I think we're about a tenth and a half here, maybe 2/10. So I'm going to get set up to face off here using high-speed steel tool, and we'll put a little chamfer on there. Here's 400 RPM, and here's 800 top speed of this machine. Bring that back. And I don't know what coating's on the end of this thing, but I want to get some emery cloth and go ahead and knock that down. The machine's pretty easily. I'm surprised. And I actually wanted to get out here and face that too, so I'll do that. Gonna block the camera just a bit. Touch off there, come in a bit, and go ahead and feed manually. Go ahead and grab a little bit of paper here. Back the cross slide out of the way. You can hear that interrupted cut there for the flat for the tooling. I think that'll do that. Do it other than this little flat will clean. Alright, that's it. Go ahead and get this part out of here and go over to the saw and cut our stock down. Alright, this isn't a critical dimension here. Just want right about 2 inches, so instead of only being able to put two pinch bolts in my tool holder onto that tool, I can get 4 on there. Got some 304 stainless here. and this is 1 inch. I was wrong about the size on this. It's between 7/8 and 15/16. I didn't get a hard number on it, but it barely fits into a 7/8 collet. I actually had to persuade it. I don't have the right size collet for it, but it goes in there. I didn't have to beat it in there. I just had to give it some love to get in there. So I'm going to go ahead and face it, and I'm going to turn. Just going to turn a little short shoulder here down to 3/4 and then put a bevel on that. Turn at 800 RPM. Break the chip. Come in here, get our zero touch off. Now I'm going to go ahead and take 20 right here, and then we'll measure. Get a measurement here. Right now this isn't critical. We just want to leave some meat so after we weld it to our tool holder we can have something to turn off. So I just want to get this down about 50, 750. I want to get it down to 800 and we'll leave the rest and turn that. We're at 889 now, so we'll just take, we'll dial in 45 and that'll get us right to 800. Change our angle here and put a bevel on it since we'll be welding this side to this. That'll do it. Yeah, it's warm. So what I need to do here is make a little alignment pin It's about 160 or so. Because once I was over at the bench trying to align my stainless part that I turned to this, I realized I didn't really have a good way to align it. And since I'm not going to utilize the through coolant provision of this tool any longer, I can cut a little pin, stuff it in there, drill a hole into the stainless part, and if I have to, make a pin with two different sizes, and then get them together and do my welding. So now I'm going to turn this pan down to about 160. Get a number on here. Once we get close, we'll just trim till it fits. So now we're at about 230. So I'm going to go ahead and take off what I want here. I want to be 180, 160. We're at 230. So I'm going to dial in. I'll dial in 25. We'll take a measurement after we get our cut. We're at 180, 183 there. So I need 18 out of it. I'm just going to dial in, I'll dial in 6, and then we'll test fit. I know it'll be a little bit big, but I'd rather be a little big than small. I'm just turning that short little nub there, so if I screw up and overshoot what I need, I still have some more material to play with. Okay, that's not it. Dial in a few. It's actually a little bit too loose for what I want, so I'm gonna leave it just big, whatever that is. And I think that's it. That's gonna work. That'll be a nice fit. I don't have any good way to measure the ID of this, so I just used calipers and came up with about a 162. Let's see what we ended up at. Uh, 150, 165, 167. So, all right. So now we'll get more of this turned down to match that OD, and then we'll pull that out of there, put the stainless part in, and drill that, and then we'll turn the rest of this to whatever that nominal hole size ends up being. Unfortunately, I should have done the stainless part first, but you know, I didn't. And actually, if I was ahead of the game, I would have turned a little stub on that stainless part so I can just plop it in there. But you know, live and learn. Yeah, I'll get the stainless part in here after I turn that shoulder like I said I would. And turn on the phase converter again. was ill prepared, didn't have a bit sharpened. I was going to use a 157 bit, and I know it's going to go oversized, so it might match what that other pin was, but it's not much to turn two different sizes on that little alignment pin I was building. So I'm just going to take this and just this 3/16. I'm just going to go into the shoulder and then make my little stubby alignment pin to match. Get this pulled out of the way. Back this collet out of here, get my aluminum bit back in there. See how tight that is? I have to knock it out of there. Alright, we're locked in. Put my tool into the work here. We get a rough measurement for what that center drill produced in terms of this hole size here. And then go for a thousandths or so interference. So it actually drilled a 197, and so it drilled about 10 thousandths over. So we're going to do is we're going to shoot for, we're just going to go for 198, and that's going to be that. It's a little shorty there. So see what that is. Actually, I bet a lot's got to come out of that sill. We're going to be 30 thousandths bigger than that guy. So we're at 225. We're at 240 there. So I'm going to dial in 20, and then we'll take another measurement. We're at 203. So I think what we were after was a 198. go 199. So I'm going to dial in 2 and cross your fingers. Alright. We'll get set up for parting this thing off. Little nugget. So I'm going to go ahead and fit this now. Alright, so we got our little stub, got the small end of our stub in our drill chuck here, and I'm just going to use my lathe as a little press to get that guy in there. Back up a little bit. No, I don't. All right. It's a little big. So what we'll do here, I'm going to call them the big boys. Loosen the tailstock. It was slipping on the jaws there. I got to get that guy in there nice and tight. So grab a piece of aluminum or a piece of steel here. Go ahead and get her this way, hopefully. And that's it for that. Back the tailstock out of here, and let's see how she runs out.